So with that, welcome to Sylus. Yeah.
Thank you. Alrighty, so before I get started, I would like to thank Dr. Anna Brown for allowing me this opportunity to be here today to showcase some of my artwork to you guys, as this wouldn't be possible without her. And she mentioned about me doing a lot of work for you guys, for the Department of Flyers and stuff, and that's actually how this came about, because as an artist myself, I try to create an opportunity for myself, as Dr. Brown is always advertising events to her classes. So I figured this could be an opportunity for me to do something for her. Like, I emailed her and asked if there's any events I could try to advertise for her that I could create a flyer for. And that's when she asked me if I actually would like the opportunity to do my own show and showcase my own artwork. And it's like, how can I say no? I'd be dumb if I said no. So, without further ado, let's get started, shall we? So,
Sylus, should we turn the lights lower to see what do you think?
yeah, I think we can turn the lights out. Okay, so, let me get this out the way. The reason the flyer for this event is a comic book is just because I thought it looked cool. So, I just wanted to create something fun, something that'll pop out, something that'll stand out. So, yeah. A little bit of a background around me. I am a student of St. Peter's University, obviously. I'm a graphic arts major. I'm also a senior, so that's going to be important for later. The majority of my work, all my work is pretty much done digitally. I use like Adobe, like Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, primarily those three. And I have actually been making artwork since I was 16 years old. I first discovered graphic art in high school, and I took a liking to it. So, yeah, that's essentially what made me want to be an artist. So, without all of that blah, 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 let's get into my artwork. So, the first thing of note, I put this one first because you guys see it all around the room. This is a project I recently did for my social justice class. For the midterm project, and me and my class, we all did our own projects where we were told to basically pick a theme of social justice and essentially make an artwork out of it. I kind of cheated a little bit. I picked two themes, but I picked two themes because they both are fighting for the same purpose. So this is an abstract liquid piece that has colors of skin tones and of the LGBT flag. So my themes are basically racism and sexuality, but obviously the big thing is the words that say, why can't we all just be ourselves? I don't really like to get political, I hate talking politics, but in recent months we've seen a lot of law changes that have suppressed a lot of voices and have limited the ability of news publications and articles to be able to say certain words. Some articles are getting deleted, a lot are getting like shadow banned, essentially, just for mentioning anything about race, anything about sexuality, and it's sad because you have these groups of people who have been fighting for equal rights for their culture and for their sexuality, and now that's all getting reversed. Essentially, people are being looked at a type of way just for being themselves, just for existing, which is what that piece represents. Why can't we all just be ourselves? Because I feel like a lot of people are saying that right now. But this piece is a first, not just because of our class projects, but also because basically what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you guys sections of my work in different criteria. The first one being my abstract work. And I do a lot of these pieces, like a lot. So I've got accustomed to doing this style, and I've only picked a handful to show, but I'll tell you guys towards the end where you can see more. So, this piece I call Green Flower. A lot of these abstract pieces are made using the gradients tool in Photoshop. A lot of the time, I am literally just playing around, experimenting. I don't have any idea going into it, what I'm gonna do. I just play around with it, and then when I see something I like, I go off that. So this is a product of that, and I call it Green Flower because when I came to this image right here, I saw it as like a plant of some sort. Now, a lot of people have said that it looks like a lot of things. I think it's a plant. I think it's like a flower-esque thing. But, you know, everybody has different point of views, and there's really no wrong answer. There's no right or wrong answer as to what this could be. So another piece that I made just from playing around, had no idea what I was doing, is this one. I call it Rainbow Mess because, I mean, it has a lot of colors, almost all the colors of a rainbow, and it's just an absolute cluster of things. It looks like paint splattered all over the place in geometric fashion. So yeah. Now this one, again, I experimented, but I actually had a specific idea going into it. I had the idea of what if I made one of these using purple and green. So this is a piece I made years ago, and by the way, this little guy up here was not intentional. That just came about from the design, but I kept it in there because I thought it would look cool. I call it Goblin because there was actually back in October, there was a Halloween contest, like an art contest that the Pavon was hosting, and I submitted some of my work into that contest, but I didn't have a name for this piece. I created this piece like X amount of years ago, but I never named it. And I was going to submit it, and I was like, oh, I got to give it a name. Okay. And since some of these pieces are named after, not all of them, but some of these pieces I do are named after characters from TV shows or movies and stuff like that. So I was thinking, okay, what's a character that's purple and green? And I thought, and then I even searched it, because my memory's not the best, but then it came up, the Green Goblin from Spider-Man. So I called it Goblin. And lastly, before we divert to the next section, this piece is called Phantom. It's this black and purple background, and there's two different variants I have of it, because that's the original. This is one variant with my face on it. This actually won me a prize in that said contest I mentioned earlier. And there's also another variant I have, which has my watermark embedded into it. However, that is not going to be publicly shown, because that is actually what I use as the wallpaper for my phone and my computers and all my electronic devices. So that is something I'm keeping to me. So, but if you ever see me on my phone or on my laptop or something, that's when you'll see it. All right. Now, this, I wasn't sure what section to put it in, because some can say it's an abstract piece, but I'm not 100% sure myself. So I call this Fiber Flower. This was actually made a couple months ago, where I learned how to do this like fiber effect from a Photoshop tutorial on YouTube, and I decided to go try to do it myself, and this is what came out of it. Now, obviously, I had refined certain details and stuff to try to, you know, create my own design out of this style. So that's what came about, and basically, the whole tutorial was taking a normal image and turning it into this. Speaking of which, let's play a little guessing game. Can anybody tell me what you think the original image this came from was? Take your best guess. Yeah.
A lotus flower?
A lotus flower?
A lotus flower.
A lotus flower. Okay. A lotus flower. All right, yeah, I know. A lot of people think flower because it looks like a flower. A bird? Yeah. Okay, a flower, a bird. All right, I promise you, when I show you, it's going to shock you. Ready? That is an image I found online, a royalty-free image of New York City. I turned that image into this. I promise you, you would have never guessed that if I didn't tell you. So there you go. And moving on now, this is a section where these next couple pieces are essentially fan art, but I still thought they were worth showing because a lot of people wonder, like, you know, what I do in my free time and, you know, how I improve upon my artwork, how do I hone my art skills. So this is a wallpaper I created for personal usage, where I thought it would just be fun to make one like background that contains things that represent all of my interests. So there you go. And hint, hint to all my friends, if you ever think about getting me the gift, look back on that. So there you go. Now, one of the things of note is in the bottom right corner right here, John Cena holding the WWE Championship. Now, a lot of you see I'm wearing a John Cena shirt, so you can probably guess that I myself am a wrestling fan. So a lot of my fan art is wrestling related. I like to fantasy book a lot of WWE shows. Now, these are real life shows, however, I go about either how I would book the show. This is just one example of how I would have booked WrestleMania 38 before. This was from before it happened. But also, I also go about if I see certain shows that I think, what if I were to book this show, like past shows that already took place, and I don't just do WWE, I do AEW as well. This is a fantasy booking I did of their All Out pay-per-view in 2022. I saw the show and I wasn't exactly the most satisfied, so I took it upon myself to basically come up with, if I were to book the show, how I would have redone it, essentially. And I also even make my own match card graphics. So these were some graphics from a YouTube series I did, where I took my friends, my family, I made characters for them in the WWE video game and had them wrestle each other. If you're looking for those videos, they're gone, sorry, they're deleted. But I still have these, and sadly this show never came out, but these were some of the matches that were set to take place. These are, now, even though the videos consisted of video game characters, I thought for promotional purposes it'd be more fun to use photos of my friends and stuff to advertise, maybe as if this was an actual show. And just a little fun fact, this right here, I actually own that belt. So this is an actual image of me with a belt. This one and this one, though, are not. I just edited them in. So yeah. Okay, and this is another fan art piece I did where I took several wrestlers in WWE that are Puerto Rican, as I myself am Puerto Rican. So I just wanted to give my fellow Boricuas some love. So over here we have Damian Priest, Zelina Vega, Carlito, Karrion Kross, Roxanne Perez, and Bad Bunny, the rapper Bad Bunny. He actually wrestles too. So yeah, well, he only wrestles on rare occasions. So, and lastly, I'm gonna move away from the wrestling stuff, I promise. But this one last piece, this is a fan art piece I created for the wrestler Becky Lynch, who I actually met her around this time last year. And since I was going to meet her at her book signing when her book came out, I took it upon myself to create a piece for me to print out and physically gift to her. So there you go. Now moving away from that, this next section is about artwork that I've done for other people. So I've shown you a lot of my personal work. Now, obviously, this is all personal work because it's all my artwork. But a lot of these are works I've created for other people. And starting with this one, which is a artwork I made to serve as a banner for my friend's YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is called I Am Lee. And I did this for him. He had recently rebranded his channel and was looking for somebody to come up with a artwork for his channel, like a banner. And me being an artist, I saw that opportunity. I was like, hey dude, I can do it for you. And he even offered to pay me, but since he's my friend, I decided to do it for him for free, voluntarily. So the reason it says banner / profile picture is because this was designed to be his banner. However, YouTube was giving him problems setting it as his banner, so ultimately he had to set it as his profile picture, unfortunately. But hey, my work is still out there, so. But there you go. And by the way, go subscribe to his channel. Don't watch it around your kids. But yeah. Okay, now this is the one and only paid commission, if you will, that I've ever done. And this is actually a funny story. So this was back in 2020, and my dad came to me and offered to pay me money if I could help him pull a prank on one of his coworkers. Him and his colleagues had this one coworker they wanted to prank, and they wanted to make him think he got fired. So he sent me a photo of his office and asked me if I could Photoshop everything out, which I did. And now I wasn't there, so I can only go based off of what I was told. But from what I was told, everybody was dying laughing. And even I got extra money out of it because a lot of his coworkers were tipping me extra money too. Believe it or not, this photo, all I did was Photoshop everything out, right? This photo took me 5 hours to make. 5 hours to make something AI can do in 5 seconds. Anyway, so, okay. Now, this is my friend Erica, and she's a student here at St. Peter. She's a nursing student. And this is something I made for her, and I gifted it to her as a birthday present a couple years ago. I don't have the original photo, but this is a photo she took of herself with paint all over her face. That's paint, it's not blood. Let me make that clear. It's paint. So, she herself is also an artist, and I thought it would be fun if I could try to recreate her art using my methods and try to give her a piece as a birthday present that I made, you know, trying to basically trying to see if I can recreate her art style using my methods. Now, spoiler alert, I missed the mark completely. Now, we use 2 different mediums. She draws, she paints, I do everything digitally. So, obviously, I wasn't gonna hit the nail on the head. But, you know, I still do like this piece. However, Erica, if you're watching, I actually have a surprise. Because I felt I didn't do a good enough job with my intentions, which was trying to recreate your art style, I took it upon myself to do something. Now, I do like this piece, and it's been 3 years since I made it, but I think it's about time for an upgrade. That's better. So, I recreated the piece recently to try to closely match her art style. As you can see, the details are more refined, and you can see the texture here, which is supposed to basically imply a canvas. Now, ultimately, I'm not going to get her style perfectly. There's no way in heck that I could ever, you know, do her style because she's already mastered it. But, you know, this is probably the closest I'll get to it, but, you know, I'm fine with that. And obviously, that's her art style, and that's unique to her, and I would never want to steal what she's doing. This is just my way of paying tribute. All right, now, I'm going to talk about some of the stuff I've done for the university. This next one's a little bit bittersweet, and I'm going to tell you why. So, this is a logo and a flyer I made for a student organization here on campus. They had recently rebranded at the time, and the president wanted to create a logo for the rebrand, to represent the rebrand. And they were talking about the design they wanted being like a peacock inside of like a circle that had like a bunch of flags. So I overheard this and volunteered to do it myself. I volunteered to do the logo, and they didn't mention anything about flyers, but I took it upon myself to make a flyer for them as well because, you know, we have to advertise, right? Now, obviously you guys are looking and there's one thing that's missing: the name of the organization. However, I edited that out on purpose. I'm not going to give you all the details, but let's just say I didn't exactly end on the greatest terms with them, and I'd rather just not bring attention to that. Well, the organization is defunct now. They don't exist anymore, but I still just would rather not. But now you guys are probably asking, why include this in here at all, right? Well, 2 reasons. Number one, it's still something I created. It's still a piece of art that I put out there, and I still think it's worth showing as an artwork. But also number 2, this is a visual representation of basically life in general. That, you know, things happen, bridges get burned, but that's okay because when one door closes, another door opens. And that door opened in the form of campus ministry. Now, he's not here, but Trevor Kelly, who's the director of campus ministry, I created some artwork for him last semester, and my first time going into campus ministry, it was during an event they had called Hospitality Wednesdays, where every Wednesday morning from 9:30 to 11, they give out free coffee and free donuts. And I saw that he had this event going on, and I was looking, because at first I told him how I was an artist, and I showed him some work I did, and he asked me if, like, you know, we can collaborate on something. Now, I didn't know what it was at first, but I looked around and saw he doesn't really have like a flyer of some sort. He doesn't have like a presence to advertise this event. So I figured, you know what, how about, you know, I asked him, hey, I wanted to create a flyer to help promote, you know, Wednesday mornings. And he said, sure, go for it. Now, at first I told him I wanted to create a flyer. However, he has this thing called a punch card. It's basically like a business card type thing. So every time you go there, every Wednesday, he punches a hole in it. You get 8 holes, you win a free travel mug. You get another punch card and go another 8 times, you actually get a free sticker. And the sticker will look like this. It's this speech bubble on the back of this. So I saw the punch card and I was like, you know what? Why don't I try to come up with my own design to recreate his punch card design? And I pitched it to him alongside the flyer. And then before he could even give me his opinion on it, before I could even get any feedback, the next time I saw him, he saw me and was like, we're going to do a limited run of your punch card. So basically, he didn't even think twice about it. He saw my artwork and was that confident in me to where he decided to use my art, no questions asked. Which I appreciate him for that because not a lot of people have that confidence in me. So that's my punch card design, front and back. And actually, Trevor actually gave me this the other day. This is the very first punch card to have all the holes fully punched of my design. And this thing on the bottom is actually his request from when he saw the flyer. He requested if I could take that donut graphic over there of the 3 donuts and make it into a sticker. So, there you go. Now, and the only other request he had was if I could either sign my name on this or put something on it just to give me credit. So I put my watermark on the back of the punch card. So there you go. And I've also, since I started putting myself out there, as I mentioned at the beginning, I also have taken it upon myself to volunteer to make flyers for other events on campus, such as this one was a request by Dr. Brown to help promote students to try to minor in social justice. So that was a bit of a challenge she gave me, but hey, I think I pulled it off. Obviously, this is the flyer for today's show that you're watching right now. And also, this is a flyer for a family dinner that they're doing on Wednesday evening. So I invite you guys all to come to that. It will be in the Social Justice House, 125 Glenwood. So, yeah. And speaking of work I've done academically, now I usually start off with this piece, but I put this one towards the end because there's a reason for that, which I'll get into in a second. But this is my cover of last year's issue of the Pavon, which is the art and literary magazine of St. Peter's University. Basically, people submit their literary work, short stories, poems. They submit their artwork as well, and every year we put out a magazine showcasing it. So I actually took the class last year that illustrates the Pavon. Basically, we're tasked with essentially, if you take the class, you're basically tasked with essentially bringing these people's artwork to life, essentially. You're taking their work, you read their work, and you create a design which you think best fits what that person wrote. So I got the cover for the Pavon, and I also have other illustrations in the magazine itself. But for that, I'll refer you to the magazine for that, because if I showed them all, we'd be here longer than we should be. But as far as how I got the cover, me and my classmates, the professor had us all design our own individual covers, and then she sent out a forum for faculty to vote on, and my design ended up winning. So that's how I got the cover of last year's edition. So, and to talk about it briefly, what it's about, because I don't think I've ever discussed it. Basically, we were talking about themes to incorporate. We were talking about themes of like peace, unity, stuff like that. And that's the themes we settled on, and everybody designed their own, came up with their own designs. And I decided, during that time, we were dealing with, things like Ukraine and Palestine, which we're still kind of dealing with those issues. There's still a lot of war going on in the world. And I just wanted to create this illustration to basically say, we're all human beings. We should all love each other regardless of what background we come from, which is why you see these figures here of different skin complexions, male, female, and then the peace sign and the globe. So that's basically what that's supposed to be. Now, this is actually an illustration I wanted to include in the Pavon, but it was not picked up. This is what I wanted to use for the table of contents. This is a background that I made with symbols representing all four, me and my three classmates who took that class, all of our designs essentially put into one. I wanted to make something to represent us all, to say like, yeah, even though if one person got the cover, I still wanted all of us to be represented in some way. Now, we still are, because all our designs are in the magazine. The runner-up got the back cover, and then the other two, their Pavon cover designs are in the magazine as well. But I still thought this would be a nice feature to have, but they didn't use it. Bummer. That's alright though. Now, speaking of the Pavon, now I'm not much of a writer, but I actually wrote a piece which I submitted to be put into the Pavon last year, which I submitted that piece before I ended up taking the class, and it's kind of bittersweet. The piece I wrote about is about this next artwork, which is the last piece of art I'm going to show you, and it's bittersweet for me because I've never put this on the internet before. I'm live streaming on my Instagram, if you guys haven't noticed already. I've put this work in an art gallery, I have it in the Pavon, I wrote a whole short story about it, but I never actually put it on the internet because I've been too nervous. So, here we go. This piece right here is very bittersweet. It means a lot to me. And, you know, I'm proud to share it, but it also embarrasses me. The piece is called "And They Tell Me I'm Negative." Basically, all these things you see here are things that I've been called by people in my life. But above all, the one that stands out the most is the one that universally everybody has called me: negative. Now, I would much rather you guys read what I wrote about this piece in the Pavon, but to sum it up in short, basically this piece is to play on people calling me negative. The phrase "and they tell me I'm negative," which is what inspired the title, has a double meaning to it. On one hand, it's to say that people call me negative on top of calling me all this. Basically, you're this, you're that, you're the third, and you're negative. But also, on the other hand, it also shows a sense of irony. The irony being, you tell me that I'm negative, but you also say all these things about me as well, which are not positive in any way. So, now the piece itself was very simple. All I did was, I took a photo of myself, took all the color out, and added numerous layers of text. But it's more so what this piece means to me and what I want it to stand for, which is why it's so important to me. Because obviously a big topic nowadays in the media and in general has been mental health. And I am somebody who is an advocate for mental health. And I don't talk about it, but yes, I do have my own mental health struggles. And it hurts me that people judge me, people look at me and judge a book by its cover, and it hurts, it does. So basically this piece is to say, you know, we shouldn't be so judgmental of people. Obviously, we might see some people a certain way, and we're going to be quick to judge, we're going to be quick to criticize, to name call, we're going to be quick to say something. But that something should be something positive. If you see somebody, instead of, you know, if they're bringing down the mood, if maybe the vibe's a bit off, why don't you actually go up to that person and try to talk with them? Ask them, like, what's wrong? Is everything okay? Try to help them. Because I promise you, just that little thing, just that one little thing of lending a helping hand, you know, opening up your ears and giving that person somebody to listen to, giving that voice an opportunity to be heard, is going to help a lot more than you think in the long run. So, I encourage you guys, if you know somebody that's going through anything, share this piece with them. And I really do hope that, even though the piece is negative, I hope that the effect it has on them is positive. So, that is the end of my show. And if you are interested in keeping up with me, you have a couple ways to do so. You have my main Instagram, @Sylus Salgado, which is where I'm live on right now. You have my art Instagram, which is just me. It's basically a massive photo dump of some of my artwork. And, you know, if you choose to message me on there, I only respond to messages about art-related things. Otherwise, refer to my personal Instagram. And I have a link tree which has all my links. This will also have a link to my YouTube and a link to my business email, but business inquiries only. And, well, for you guys here on campus, if you wish to contact me for anything, salgado@stpeters.edu. Now, hold your applause. I have two more things I have to say. I did mention earlier about a way you guys can see more of my artwork. Well, actually, I have two ways. Number one, for my abstract artwork, since I make so much of them, I have 15 pieces of mine hung up in the social justice house. They're going to be there for at least until Wednesday, though, because I'll be at the family dinner, and then, you know, you guys can get to see my work when I'm there. Past that, I'm not sure, but at least until Wednesday. That's number one. But number two, since you guys, you know, I'm grateful that you guys could all be here, and I asked you guys to do one thing for me, and I don't ask for a lot. I don't ask for things. I hate asking for things, but there's one thing I wish you guys could do for me. The same support that you guys have given me, give it to my classmates. Give it to me and my classmates. Starting next week, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Artist's Ascension. This is the senior thesis art exhibition. I did mention I'm a senior. Me and the rest of my classmates in senior thesis class, us graduating students, will have our artwork framed and up for display in the Fine Arts Gallery, 5th floor of the Student Center, starting next Thursday, April 10th from 2:30 to 4. The artwork will be up there from April 10th to May 6th. April 10th is just the opening reception. But the good thing about that is, not only do you get to see some of my artwork, my classmates' artwork, but the exhibition is also open to the public. So if you have people from outside the university that wish to see our art, bring them on by. And last thing I want to mention, I want to give a quick shout out to my classmates that are in this exhibition. Edward Dilemma, Carlos Gutierrez, John Lugo, Eric Maldonado, Lyra Pastoral, myself, Sylus Salgado, Ramir Walker, and Kevin Zeffirino. And credit goes to Lyra for coming up with the poster design to advertise the show. Thank you.